Hey, welcome on in, guys. Tobin here with you, and thanks for checking out the channel. Hope everybody's doing fantastic out there. Miami Heat, getting ready for the Denver Nuggets. It would be nice tonight if the Miami Heat would be able to, get themselves a win. They did get a day off in Denver, so this is not as illegal as the illegal air is usually. But it will be an interesting one to check out for sure. The Heat won't have Kevin Love for this game. Jaime Jaquez is questionable. Anthony Chang says that he is with the team, rejoining the team. He's listed as questionable because of a return to competition conditioning. This has become a new thing that the Heat have been throwing out there. So I don't know if he's going to play or not, but just keep that in mind. Tyler Herro is also on the injury report with a lower back contusion. But Tyler's been very durable. He's listed as available. You saw that thing on his back the last game around. Remember he had that weird play where they said that he went out in an unnatural position. I thought that was kind of a bogus call. I thought that he was fouled. But I get it. Like they said, he touched the ball first, so they're kind of like, oh, you can do whatever you want. Rough the kicker. I'm like, what is that? Either way, this is an interesting one for Tyler, and I wanted to bring this up. Do you know that today is an interesting day because it is the 1-year anniversary of Tyler Herro screwing up his ankle in Memphis last year, an injury that really derailed his season. I found that value. I was just kind of like looking. I was like, man, how many games are we in as compared to last year and last year's start? Because Tyler Herro, quite frankly, has felt like he has turned a corner. I think a lot of Heat fans are noticing it. And it's not just the fact that Tyler Herro puts up points. Tyler Herro's been putting up points since he was a teenager. There's just a way that he's playing. There's a decision-making that he's playing. Eric Spoelstra used the term for him the other night that he is a weapon. And it does genuinely feel like this is a Tyler Herro who is just better. Quite frankly, he feels like he's better. He feels like he's grown up a little bit as far as like muscles are concerned. And I was just curious, and I was like, oh, so I went back and looked at last year before he got hurt because he did get off to a good start last year, but it just felt a little bit. It does feel a little bit different. So last year, 8 games in. And then remember, he got hurt in the Memphis game. It was pretty quick into the Memphis game. So really, we're about the same amount of games in that he was last year. But last year, just if you're going by the flat-out counting stats, he was just under 23 points, 22.9 points per game, 5 rebounds, just under 5 assists, over a steal a game. Got off to a very nice start. But if you break down the little tweaks into his game, there are things that really stand out from this first batch of 7 games than did the start of last year. And first of all, he's unconscious from 3 right now. So I don't know if but he's always been an incredible shooter. He's shooting like 46% from 3 right now. He's and taking more attempts than he did last year from 3. Last year he was shooting just under 8 attempts through the start of the season. And then this year, he's almost shooting 9 per game. And he's shooting at a 46% clip from downtown. So the guy is unbelievable with the shooting. But the other thing that really stands out is the uppage in his free throw attempts. Tyler Herro's getting to the free throw line about 4 times a game, which for him would be a career high. He's usually the highest that he's had. He finished the season with over 3 a game in his 6th Man of the Year campaign. But he was the other night where he got to the line 5 times. There's been games for Tyler Herro where he's gone out there and, you've had a 6 attempt game, a 6 attempt game, a 5 attempt. It's not been the 2s, the 3s, and 1. Like Tyler Herro is getting a handful of those drives to the rim, and I think it's and to boot, it's basically, as he's been saying, it's been 3s and attacks at the rim, and he's been playing through contact a lot better. That's been definitely noticeable. If you just watch the kid play, one of the critiques you could have on him, he was so pure, but it always felt like Tyler Herro was like looking for the cleanest pocket always. Like if there was a little sense of someone was going to be around him, he'd dribble to a clean spot and shoot the jumper there, or he'd dribble and get to the baby float room where he would just throw up a clean runner, not worry about any not really stretch himself out or give himself the extra. Man, I feel like Tyler Herro is Roziering it a little bit, where he's like, if there's somebody around me, I'm going to get that thing up. If it's a little bit deep, I'm going to get that thing up. He's also been doing a tremendous job of getting his teammates involved. This kid really does feel like it's something like he's on to something special. The only critique that you could put on the games this year is if you were to like look at his splits, that people always say, this always feels like it happens in a loss. And in the losses, he's averaging 26. In the wins, he's averaging just under 19. So it's not like he's a ghost, but that's like the only thing you could throw at him. To boot, the Heat have their own split issue because they have handled the teams that they are very clearly better than, and they have been this close in the games where they're taking on a playoff team or a potential contender. The quality opponents. I think we all know the games that they should have been. But this guy it's been a positive. Like, he is, I believe, for the season right now, is if you were to look at him, his overall, I believe if you take out the Orlando game, he's a plus for the season. The Orlando game kind of effed everybody up a little bit. He was a minus 27 in that game. So the kid's overall been very, very he's been very, very solid all over the thing. And you think about last year and 1 year ago, same amount of games on a road trip, this gnarly ankle injury that derailed the season for him. It really did. I do think there are things that he's done this year that are different. I mentioned some of the playing style things. I also I've as somebody who's covered him since he was very young, always a very nice professional individual, but I definitely feel a sense of comfort. A lot of laughing and smiling this year, has been in a very, very good place. It feels like than other seasons where, he's always been a very reserved kid, not the biggest soundbite in the world. I don't think that, but this year, like, I don't know, been a lot of smiling, a lot of joy in his game, a lot of joy being around, just outward joy that he's displaying more. I don't know what that is. I don't know. Some people have used the term maturing around me. I don't think it's a maturing thing. I think it's more of a comfort. I don't know. I don't like the term maturing because I don't feel like Tyler Herro. While certainly there's like, he would have fun on social media, and things like that. I don't think it's a maturing thing because I never found him to be an immature person. But I do think that there's definitely a comfort in his skin that definitely is noticeable from the outside looking in, I feel like. So it's funny too because he's always known for the outfits. Tyler Herro, Scotty Drippin. He always is known for having the thing. His thing this year has been like the Men in Black. That has been like his thing. He's been wearing like the badass sunglasses, or Neo. Like, he looks like either Neo or Men in Black, but I think it's more like Men in Black. And it's funny because he's really been hitting the haters with the neuralizer. Like, anybody who's had thoughts, and look, I'm not going to sit here and act like I've never thrown Tyler Herro in the trade machine. You guys know. And I think that last year there were games where you could see it. But even like last year, the thing with him is like, he was trying to adjust his game. I think even in those ends, you could tell a frustration that he had come back. We had Terry Rozier now, and Terry Rozier got hurt, and then he was back to, it was potential that he was going to come off the bench again. This year, like right out of the gate, was like, I'll come off the bench. You guys need me to come off the bench. Just everything publicly has been there, and he's been the most reliable guy that he can go to every single night. It hasn't been Jimmy. It hasn't been Bam. Certainly hasn't been Nico. Hasn't been Terry Rozier. He's easily been the steadiest force for the Miami Heat. He's also like, I've always said this about Tyler. Like, I know that he isn't the best defender in the world, although he does have a talent to steal the basketball. But I've never thought Tyler Herro dogs it on defense. I've thought that, like, oh, he's trying. There's just matchups where he gets overwhelmed. Physically, we're going to see how this holds up because, with his ability to go at the rim and attack the rim the way that he has with more ferocity, I'm curious to see how that goes. And then, there is also the element of, like, whatever this turns into, there's still also a playoff proving ground that he's going to have to go through. But that's another story for another day. For right now, 1 year from an injury that really effed up his season, he does seem to be a much better basketball player. Even if you were to go through those games and you were like, kind of the same amount of points, samesies. But I think that anybody watching this and seeing him shoot more threes, get to the free throw line more, not be so reliant on that runner in the paint. Not that it always has to be gone, but he certainly has done everything Eric Spoelstra has asked him to be a teammate that's fitting in better, to be a teammate basketball-wise. There's never been like a locker room thing. I'm just saying, like, just fit in better on the court to try and, like, make everybody comfortable, because, like, we all can look at this right now. It's a bit of a clunky start to this starting lineup. Certainly the third quarter issues have been there. I'm sure there's going to be some adjustments soon, I would have to guess. I gotta say, though, I was laughing, just to divert off from Tyler in a second. I was listening to Lil Willie, because he was there was a clip that I saw on Twitter where he had said that the Heat had put all their eggs in the, quote, they put too many eggs in the Jovic basket. And I was like, they have? You could have fooled me. I mean, if you would have told me that the Heat put a lot in the Jovic basket this year, I would have found that surprising. I know Nico's off to a very inconsistent start. I almost wonder, how healthy he feels, because the dude had an ankle fracture in the summer. He had a foot fracture. Like, this was a pretty gnarly injury that he came back from and then tried to play through. So there is part of me that wonders, like, hey, is Nico all the way back physically? Because certainly you see, like, some of the lift that he has on his feet. Not that he had, like, the biggest vert ever, but there is part of me that's wondering if there's still lingering effects from his summer. But look, the inconsistency and the role is a little bit clunky. People had wondered, how are Tyler and Terry going to work together? They seem fine. Terry's going through a couple of games here where he's building a brick house. But Tyler and his attack to go find each other for 3-pointers, definitely noticed that the chemistry's been there. They TNT, it has been explosive. It has had its moments. So I was just laughing, hearing Lil Willie talk about this idea that, he's going to be, that he put their eggs in the Jovic basket. And I'm like, I don't think that's the case. I don't feel like, certainly if you were, like, hopeful that he was going to take a leap, was that going to be where? I think everybody was like, hey, is the Miami Heat going to be able to do anything without anybody going and taking a step forward? And I think everybody had kind of resigned the fact that Tyler is what he is, and I don't know if he is what we thought that he was. I think that he might be better, and right now we've been dying for the Miami Heat to have a weapon that you can rely upon for 24, 25 points a night, and he's not quite there, but he's getting damn close. And it's going to be it's definitely going to be an interesting thing going forward and to watch, because it is an early sample size. But I think even watching him in preseason, and you see him physically, and you see, I don't think any of this is unsustainable. Maybe outside of the shooting being as hot as it is right now, there's going to be a couple of weeks where I'm sure he's not going to hit the broadside of a barn. It happens to basketball players, but that time ain't right now. And going into this road trip tonight against the Denver Nuggets, first of all, this team has kind of had the Heat's number going back to the finals. It's been very annoying. But the Heat didn't have Tyler Herro in that finals, like everybody assumed, it's addition by subtraction that he wasn't there. But I'm very curious to see this matchup tonight, see what he brings to the table. There's no Aaron Gordon. Jamal Murray, maybe. I think he's dealing with a concussion. So we'll see if he's going to be good to go. But yeah, man, this is an interesting thing. And even going into last year, the Heat at that time were 3-5 when the injury occurred. They're currently 3-4, and they got off to a really rough start last year. The Heat have really been up, down, up, down, up, down. But this particular, this season, Miami is in a spot where they've lost 3 out of 4, but they started, I think, 1-5 last year. Like, got off to just an awful start. So this team is the difference of their TCBing against the teams they're better than, but then also they the last 2 games have been right there. They just got to stop these collapses. This has all been stuff, and I'm sure we'll get to it in tonight's recap, whatever happens in the game. But yeah, just want to give Tyler Herro his flowers because the guy has been absolutely tremendous. He's been nails this season. He's been super reliable, and you have to give him a ton of credit. The guy has been off to a fantastic start this year. With everything that's going on. Getting back to the Nikola Jovic thing too. One other thing on this, because Lil Willie's saying that the Heat had a lot of eggs in the Nikola Jovic basket. I love Heat Reddit, and I saw the other day, a Heat Reddit headline, and I didn't even watch the video clip because I recorded it. Like, I don't need to, but I laughed at the headline, and it was something to the effect of, Tobin breaks his silence on Nikola Jovic, sees more wear in the future. It was something like that. Yeah, here it is. It says, Tobin breaks his silence about Nico and says it's time to play wear. And I just laughed because I'm like, I was keeping silence about Nikola Jovic. Like, I didn't realize that I was harboring secrets. I didn't realize that I didn't report anything. I just was watching with my eyes. And I think we saw him play 5 minutes the last time. So I just laughed at the headline and was like, wait, what? I've said, I think that, it looks like it's trending towards Nico going out here and being probably, I'm not going to say completely, it's completely determined, but I just feel, it feels like that's where it's trending just because of the third quarter struggle. Now, to be fair, the Heat still had third quarter struggles the last game. It just happened to be later in the third quarter. And a lot of that was with Kalel on the floor. Not his fault, but yeah, I think the obvious thing is you want to see Kalel Ware play more. You want to see a comfort spot for Nico where he can utilize all his traits. I do think it's tough in this starting lineup. I think he's kind of put into this box. So when people say things like, "Oh, the Heat invested a lot into the Nico basket," I laugh because I'm like, you wouldn't know it based on how they utilize him because they barely even use him on the team. He's basically there for open threes. He has had his own screw ups, sure. I'm not completely dismissing his performance, but I do think that there's still, I think the Heat are still like wondering, well, what is the perfect role for this kid? He's a bit of a unique player. And you have to wonder, like, where does he fit in all of this? So it's wild. But yeah, man, Herro, he's been awesome. He's been awesome this year, and props to him. Hope to see that show continue tonight against the Nuggets.